Right, welcome everyone back to the channel. Today's video is going to be slightly different. As you can see behind me, I bought a Alienware 4K Quantum Dot OLED, 240 Hz, 0.03 second response time. So in this video, we're going to be giving you my review. I'm going to be going through the specs. I'm going to be going through resolution, price, how available it is. We're going to be going through design, sound, everything, just breaking it down. However, this isn't going to be the most in-depth, video ever. We're just going to be talking about, more the simpler stuff. So if you want to find out stuff about, the NVIDIA, the G-Sync, all of that, this isn't going to be for you, but this is going to be talking about pretty much all the specs. We're going to include Dolby Vision, everything down to all the sizes to help you pick whether an OLED monitor is for you. As you can tell from first glances, this monitor is stunning. Now let's talk curvature. Now, when talking curvature, this has a 1700R, which definitely isn't a big deal for me at least, and you don't really notice it from the frontal position too much, but if you're someone who values a flat screen and likes the simplicity of flat, that might stir you in the direction of that and avoid you from a curvature. So on the back of the monitor, as you can see, we've got quite a lot of branding. You've got your classic Alienware logo, as well as Alienware written down the support of the arm. You've also over this side got your 32-inch logo as well. So for a monitor, it definitely hasn't got a simplistic back, but again, for me especially, it's not too much of a big deal because your main attention won't obviously be on the back, and I think the black and the white actually contrast nicely. Now, a very nice addition on this Alienware monitor is they've added a slipstream for all the cables to go through, meaning your cables stay much more organized and assorted. Obviously, this is good for cable management, which is a big issue for me, and it's just, a nice factor to have in to keep your setup looking nice, clean, and efficient. Now, let's talk resolution and picture quality. As you can tell, OLED does it the best. The picture, especially the contrast ratio, is amazing. The 4K, obviously you've got the Quantum Dot OLED, meaning you're getting those really, really solid dark blacks and them extremely vibrant colors, making just everything pop and making the absolute visuals look stunning. The camera I'm recording on also definitely isn't doing the video justice, but this monitor also has Dolby Vision. Dolby Vision pretty much just adds more vibrant colors and makes the image look a lot brighter, which just furthers that OLED effect, making them blacks just completely stand out from all the other colors. One thing to note about the monitor though, that is the light is quite sensitive when shined directly upon it. This monitor definitely excels most to its max capability when in a dark environment, as direct light can affect contrast ratios, therefore disrupting your picture quality. Another thing to take into account is the power and electrical usage. On the wattage scale, this ranks in the G category, which is the highest, but meaning you will use the most power. But however, if you're in the market for an OLED, most are either F or G, so it's just another thing to take into account when looking to buy a monitor. Now, because obviously the 240 Hz capability and the 0.03 second response time, meaning in FPS and shooter games, this is going to be super important. Obviously on all consoles, but it definitely more favors on the side as PC. So you can make, them clutch situations, make sure you're performing to your highest standard. Now, I say preferably or more on the side of PC, because if you're on PlayStation, you're limited to 120 Hz on the PS5 anyway, but it still just makes for a much smoother and Another thing to note about this monitor is that it has no speakers, meaning for audio output, you will either need a headset or a soundbar to connect it up. But in the market today, most monitors don't actually use speakers because most people are using headsets. But I still think, having a built-in speakers is always a nice addition when monitors do them. But, it's all to do with preference. But if you were in the market for built-in speakers, you would probably have to go with a different option like the LG Ultra Gear. Right, so now let's talk price, availability, and why I think OLEDs are realistically just the best of the best. So before I bought this Alienware to start my YouTube, I was gaming on a 2K MSI, which is fine. However, before doing my YouTube, I have this beautiful 65-inch LG OLED display. And that cost me 13 or 1500 Great British pounds. However, just when you log on to an OLED after playing, you know, a basic, a 2K or even just a 4K, and you log on to an OLED and you see the difference, it is just incredible. Like, it really is a drastic change. So this monitor in Great British pounds cost me, it was actually down on discount, from I think 989 down to about 890, and I found a discount code. So obviously, you know, if you're in America, that's probably like 1300 American US dollars. So obviously prices vary in different areas, so it depends. But I definitely think with availability as well, if you're looking for an OLED, a lot of the time, especially for monitors, for high-end gaming performance, they're out of stock. You know, like the LG Ultra Gear constantly going out of stock. Some of the Asus monitors are, even the Gigabyte sometimes. So I think when it comes down to availability and product purchase, this Alienware one is always in. Another thing to note about this monitor is the burn-in warranty. It has a 3-year one, which is fabulous. So a burn-in pretty much happens on OLEDs. Doesn't always happen, but it can quite frequently happen after a long duration, depending on what settings you're using. And if you're using, you know, peak brightness where your TV's having to emit out a lot more power, you can get called in the burn-in effect, which is pretty much where you get almost little marks or dimples on your screen where it's just completely faded, where the color's gone, and it can just become like a black dot, which is when the burn-in warranty comes in effect, because then obviously you can take it to wherever you buy the Alienware from and say, you know, I've got the 3-year guarantee, I need this taken care of, and then they'll obviously have to replace the screen if it happens within your 3-year of accessing it. But again, this normally isn't always a problem, but only if you're, as I said, really using all the peak settings of HDR and SDR. And it won't happen like in a few months or maybe even a year. It will take quite a while after. But it just depends how you play, depends how long you're on your monitor for, how much power you're using, what you've got connected up, you know, how well you've kept it in the condition that it is. So there we go, my review. Thank you everyone so much for watching. As I said, this isn't a super in-depth video, so if, you know, you're still struggling to make up your mind, I would definitely either rethink it or go watch another YouTuber's review, where they might go into a bit more depth and, you know, test all stuff like the HDR calibration and all stuff like that, and maybe try it on different consoles and everything. But from my experience on the PS5 so far, it's just absolutely phenomenal. Like, really good. So if you enjoyed, please consider subscribing to the channel, where I do playthroughs of various video games, and I will be doing an update on this monitor in the near future. So everyone, take care of yourselves, have a good one. See you.